I guess, financially hard to sustain a fashion brand in New York.
What we're gonna learn today?
PR is really hard to explain these days because it changes every year or so what it really means. Because if you think about it, us as human beings are born to communicate. At the end of the day, PR we're in a field of service. You know, it's communications, but it's a service. So it's a very people-based job.
Do you think you could have done what you've done anywhere else?
There's just so much more opportunity out here. And I think there's also a little bit less judgment, maybe. And you come here and you're still a weirdo, but it's okay because everyone's a weirdo. What drives me? Honestly, work hard, play hard. I know Midtown gets a lot of hate. I love Midtown. People find Midtown corny, but I love it.
Which one is your favorite magazine?
Oh my God.
It's a different one, sorry.
It's crazy because I was like, ooh, no, because then like all the editors will be like, why don't pick me?
What is the final destination at the end of the day?
Using fashion as a traveling medium to think about something a little broader. I think that was quintessentially what I was always really interested in. I hope that it's still people talking, not robots at you.
Of course.
I shouldn't say this because I work in fashion, but I actually...
Hello everybody, thank you for listening to The Bold Way. Today I am with Gia Kuan, right?
Yes.
Is it the right pronunciation?
Correct, Gia Kuan.
Gia Kuan. So Gia, to put a bit of context, where we are right now?
We're in my office in Chinatown, New York, in Manhattan, on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for making it happen on a Sunday.
Oh, good.
So, for the people who don't know you, never heard about you, who you are, what you do, and to push them to stay here until the end of this 2-hour interview in audio and video, what we're gonna learn today?
I guess I'll start with who I am. So I'm Gia. I run a PR agency in New York City. I work across fashion, arts and culture, lifestyle, and I represent a lot of independent labels as well as established ones. Been in New York for a little over 15, 16 years and have always been in the field. And I guess we're talking about fashion and style today within my lens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I really want to understand, where you're from what wood you have made, your pathway, or you made it to here. And I also want to understand what is the state of fashion in New York? Is it still buzzing? Is it still bubbling? Is there still some new stylist and new designer coming from this amazing city? To begin with, maybe from what wood you are made of? I mean, where you were born, where you come from.
Start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. And I grew up there till I was 5 years old or so. So born in Taiwan, my family traveled a lot. I ended up moving to Dominican Republic when I was 5 years old for 3 years, which not a lot of people know about. So I was there from 5 to 8, which is where I learned how to speak English, primarily from watching TV, honestly, from watching the Flintstones and Scooby-Doo, the Disney Channel.
How come a Taiwanese family moved to Saint-Domingue?
Both my parents spoke Spanish, or they still speak Spanish. They were Spanish majors in college, so that's how they met. And then because of that, my father ended up working for the Taiwanese embassy in Santo Domingo, and that's why my family moved there.
All right.
So we were there on assignment for about 3 or 4 years. Went to school there. I ended up going back to Taiwan, finished elementary school, and then around in the late 90s or so, my whole family then immigrated to New Zealand. So that's where I went to for middle school as well as high school for about 7, 8 years. After New Zealand, I ended up going to Australia for college. So I moved there by myself. That was my first adulthood solo experience. I moved to Melbourne, Australia for college where I studied media communications. And then I was there for another 7 years or so.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up moving to New York in my mid-20s.
What brought you to New York?
I always wanted to move to New York. I've been dreaming about New York since I was like 14 years old, just from watching movies and things like that. I had never been. And I've always wanted to go to New York. My parents wouldn't let me when I was in high school. I kept on thinking about it all the way till post-college, where I was like in my mid-20s. I had no idea what I wanted to do in life. And I just ended up taking a bit of a risk. I think I was in Australia. I didn't have a job. I couldn't get a job.
Right.
I don't know. I think I didn't know what I was going to do. I was kind of between two part-time jobs. I was working in a nightclub. I was actually working in a lot of nightlife as a bartender, as a waitress, selling skincare during the day. And I wanted to work in fashion, but I didn't quite work in fashion because I was just working all of these odd jobs in college. I ended up working for a luxury retail store on the last year of college called Ascend, which is kind of how I got introduced to a lot of the brands that I love a lot today. So the store in Australia, they stocked anything from Anthony Mister to Rick Owens to Junya Watanabe to Comme des Garçons. And that kind of opened my understanding of luxury fashion and, kind of inspired me to go in that path. So I worked there the last year of college in Melbourne. I then wanted to move to New York. I didn't know how. So I ended up, I enrolled myself into a very short course at Parsons, where I studied fashion marketing. I got in, I was like, okay, I have 1 year to figure it out in New York. I either do this 1 year thing and go home, or I figure it out and I stay. So this was like 2010. I ended up moving up to New York, did the Parsons thing. I was interning a bajillion internships during my time here. And I think that's how I ended up finding my way into actually landing a job, my first job in fashion, in around 2011 at Comme des Garçons, actually.
Wow.
Which is an amazing first job.
That's amazing.
It's an amazing first job.
What did you do?
I was a PR assistant.
PR assistant,
Yeah.
okay. And that was thanks to Parson, the network of Parson, right? And
yeah,
Parson
a little bit
is
of
a
both.
nice stamp, right?
Yes, yeah, it definitely got my foot in the door. I have to say, I did a variation of internships. My first internship was at PR Consulting, actually, a PR agency in New York, and I was just running errands. How I kind of got to know how New York City worked just from sending garment bags back and forth to different showrooms, how fashion internships worked and still somehow works now. And my second internship, I was actually with Tom Ford. It was the second season of him debuting women's wear. So I was there for 6 months. And I also interned for the summer for Scott Schumann of the Sartorialist, who was a prominent blogger back in the 2010s.
Back in the days.
Back in the days. This was when Blogspot was really big.
Oh, yeah.
So I honestly did a lot of different ones, and I ended up being at Comme des Garçons as an intern in the PR department. So, and that was my first job here. I managed to stay. That was towards the end of my school time here. I ended up being there for 6 years. After the first year of Comme des Garçons, we learned that Dover Street Market in New York was going to open.
Right.
So my job ended up expanding, and our small team of 2, it was just me, myself and my boss in the PR department. It was so small. And we worked really hard with our small team to open up Dover Street. And and then I was there all the way until 2016.
Wow. All right. What have been the milestone up to the opening of your own bureau?
The milestones, I guess it's interesting. I opened GKC in 2019, so it's been a little over 6 years. I think working at Comme des Garçons and Dover Street was definitely the foundation of what I did. I think I was there for a while. I don't think I would have been able to do what I did today without that training. And the interesting thing was what happened in between CDG and what I do today is that I did take a bit of a break in the middle. I think I left Comme des Garçons and Dover Street in 2016. I decided to still work in communications, but I changed industries. So I went to an agency called Nadine Johnson, where I worked for 3 years. And I started actually in the arts and culture department, so not fashion at all. Nadine didn't really do fashion. So I worked because my studies was related to art history. So I ended up working in PR for art galleries, museums, nonprofits, and did that for another 3 years. And it was only during that time, I think, that I don't know what happened. I mean, I'm trying to think about what happened. Was I think when I was working for Nadine when I started to really meet a lot of the designers that I still work with now.
Okay.
So circa like 2017, 2018, I started to meet, I think I was going out more, maybe. I was going out. I was introduced to a lot of the designers, like Kim Shui, Telfar, who I, still work with today, Raul Lopez from Loire. And I think I was just really excited because I think my idea of fashion in New York was, I had a certain vision of what fashion would be when I moved to New York. It wasn't so much that it didn't meet my expectations. I think that fashion was just there was like the really big brands that are glamorous and amazing that I also, aspired to. But I think I was craving something else that was a little bit more, maybe underground and a little underrepresented, like something else that was calling for representation in terms of the agents, in terms of just the energy and the, diverse range that it had to offer. So I think when I was meeting these designers, I think that's when I realized that was maybe my calling of what I wanted to do. I've always liked to build things. And I think working at Dover Street, what I realized that I loved doing was working with the emerging designers on the 4th floor to help really build out what their voices would be like in New York if they lacked representation elsewhere. So that, I think that at the beginning really energized me. And I think fast forward, that's how I started GKC in 2019. I think I was already helping a couple of these designers just here and there, doing some meetings for the press, doing some of their shows. And then I think as a result, some of the peers or the designers themselves were just like, why don't you just do your own thing? And I was like, I've never thought about it. Because first of all, I'm like on this visa. I was just about to get my green card, which was great. But I didn't even think that was going to be an option for me. I just thought I was going to work for someone else for the rest of my life.
I see. The process of getting the green card can be super long and laborious, right?
Yeah, super long. And I mean, I think, thanks to Nadine, who was, I was with her for 3 or 4 years. I think all my employers were because getting a visa in New York at the time, I mean, even now the visa process itself is just so stressful. I was on the H-1B, which basically gives you a maximum of 3 years before you have to either transfer your visa or move on to a green card. And my last employer, Nadine, ended up sponsoring me for a green card, which was amazing. That process in itself took like 1.5 years. Ended up getting it, which was great. And that changed everything, honestly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So we are in your bureau. What are the brands you are representing today?
Really a range. So I'm just looking at the racks. I mean, not everything that I represent are physically in the showroom. We have a lot of clothes in here, but we still work with Telfar. We work with Kim Shui on seasonal shows during New York Fashion Week. And then we also work with Priska Vera, who's also a New York-based designer. We work with Ottolinger, who's based in Berlin. And we work with Lou Dan, which is a brand that's based out in London. And also Kiko Kostadanov, that's based out in London as well. So it's grown to be pretty international. I think it started out being very New York-centric, but now it's a pretty international.
It's super international. And you're representing them in New York on the New York market, right?
New York, as well.
On
actually,
the American market, I mean.
North America, although some of them are also international markets.
Oh, really? Great. Can we have a look?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, let's walk. Let's have a little tour of your bureau. Can we say bureau? I mean,
yeah, bureau. Bureau is accurate, right?
Bureau de presse, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think this rack here, actually, this is Reese Cooper, who's a designer based out in LA. And then this is Ottolinger. I mean,
Autolinger,
Yeah, this is
I love what they're
Autolinger, who
doing.
I love. We just started working with them a little over a year ago. And then this is all Autolinger, actually. And then it goes into Priscavera as well, who is based out in New York, and she is Italian, but based out. And this is Sander Lack, who we love working with. He used to be the creative director of Cis Marjan, and he's based in New York as well. So this is his second collection, his second namesake collection.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what is the range of things you are doing for brands?
Well, everything from communication strategy.
Yeah.
And
putting the strategy on the paper.
Yes. I think it's so funny because I'm like thinking like PR is really hard to explain these days because it changes every year or so what it really means. Because if you think about it, like us as human beings are born to communicate, and it's basically the art of communication. So the way that you communicate, whether it's verbal, even like the way that you're doing a podcast, everything is evolving as it happens because of various, cultural, technology reasons. So I feel like my job 10 years ago is so different from what we do now is how we define it. So for example, we do place brands into the media. That's one part of it, but the media is also not everything now. There's so many other platforms to consider, whether it's Substack, whether it's social media directly, or whether it's directly to influencers or people, partnering with other brands. There's a lot of different.
There's a multiplication of point of contact, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
because like 15 years ago when you started, it was like, okay, there's a few magazines and one TV channel. No, there was a bit more.
There's a little bit more, but even then, like I remember, like I think placing something in physical magazines was like the thing that was. If you get something online, they're like, oh, whatever, like online, like who cares?
Let's try.
Who cares? Who cares about online? But like it's so funny how things evolve. And even now we're just, things that we ask each other every day. It's like online. Do people read online now, or do they only look at social media and then go online afterwards? So you have to think about the way that people are exploring content. It's really just evolved a lot.
How does people use what they are consuming right now? Do you understand something?
Well, it depends on the age range too. It's like, are you talking about like Gen Alphas or Gen Zs or like millennials? Like millennials like me, like I'm still reading online. I'm still reading in print, but you're talking to like an 18 to 25-year-old. I don't think that's what they're reading now. And then it also changes by geo-region in the city. Like, for example, if we're working with a Chinese brand or a Chinese consumer, we have to understand things in such a global way. Like the Chinese the Chinese youth don't even do the .com. They have other platforms like WeChat or like, other social platforms that are unique to them that they're using too. So in a way, I feel like our jobs, it's interesting. It keeps on evolving, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like being in PR now, maybe so hard.
Yeah, it's
because you really have to be very savvy in terms of everything that's going on, not just regionally, but also globally as well.
Can we go through the process of Telfar, or you managed to, because this is something you were here at the very beginning, right?
Yes.
It's a friend of you. He was. Can you remind us what was like the story, the genesis of Telfar and you?
I believe that I was introduced to Telfar through a couple of mutual friends. I believe it was our friend Spencer who was the producer for a lot of the Telfar shows from the very beginning. So Spencer introduced me to Telfar and Babak, who was their artistic director. I want to say like back in 2016. And this was the season right after this was the season where they were just nominated the CFDA Fashion Awards. So I was brought on to work with them just in a very advisory, smaller capacity. And I think it was because I think one of the things that connected us too at the beginning was that I did have this art background. And they were in the early Telfar 10 years, there was a lot of parallel also within the art worlds and institutions that they worked with. So we really connected on that level. I worked with them on the season surrounding the CFDA nomination and win. And then also worked closely with them on the shows, from like the White Castle parties that they did to large scale shows at the Irving Plaza where it was a concert. All of the seasonal shows afterwards. And I worked with them on the communications for that. And I feel like that also really helped shape, it really inspired me in terms of how a PR could work. I think that just by nature of the brand size and myself just being independent, it was just me. I didn't have a team at the time. And Telfar's team also being small at the time, we were just working very, very closely with each other. That was PR, but sometimes also not. You're just kind of like shooting ideas, and sometimes that becomes like a bigger idea. And then you really go from there. But the relationship was special. I feel like they're such a special team to work with just because of their creative minds and how they think and how they market themselves to the world.
So let's have a little tour of your office. So this is les portants, the racks, the racks, and there's like the salon.
Yes, the salon. I love that you call it that. This is I love that we have a salon.
All right. And how many people are working here?
We have 11 people in total right now, including myself. So it's always been around, it's been this size, I think, the past couple of years, usually like 8 to 10.
Yeah.
8 to 11.
Don't you want to grow more? And what is the right size for a PR agency?
Oh my God. That's such a subjective question. But
exactly.
I don't know if I want to, I say this now. When I first started, I thought I was just going to freelance. I didn't think I was going to grow an agency,
Yeah.
I thought I was just going to work, as a freelancer. And then it started to slowly grow. I don't know. I love the size we have now. I don't know if I want to imagine myself like growing like a giant empire. I really applaud people who can. I love working very closely with my team because I'm pretty hands-on. So that part I love. I think right now is the perfect size. I probably don't want to go past 15, but if I do one day, then you'll let me know because we have it on recorded. Yeah.
What is when you start a business like that, what was the vision and what was the ambition at the time? And what is the final destination at the end of the day when you start that kind of business?
I have to say, when I started, I don't think I went in with like a business plan in mind, to be honest, because it was all very instinctive. I met the people who I was inspired by. I started freelancing for them and it just evolved as it happened. But I think what inspired me and what I got excited about doing was being able to, I guess, understand it as like a larger cultural fabric. I think, yes, I loved fashion as a medium, but I also loved arts. I also loved film. I also loved a lot of these different other things. And I think for me, it wasn't so much about just the craft itself, but it was more about telling the story, whether it's like uplifting a certain subculture or threading the narrative of an identity. Like, I think there's, using fashion as a traveling medium to think about something a little broader. I think that was quintessentially what I was always really interested in. I love the craft, of course, but again, at the end of the day, for me, it's like the cultural aspect of that. Yeah. I like to understand like the mindset of like those inspirations. I love, I think I've always had an affinity with the youth, the next gen, what people are doing, like the unconventional crafts. I get excited when I'm seeing someone do something where it's completely their own voice and there's not so much a referential. It's so easy to reference something these days. And I think, especially with, social media, it's like, how do you not have like a reference on a day to day? So I think I get really excited when I see whether an artist or, a designer doing something completely on their own that they're not caring about how it's marketed for the rest, or how others are projecting themselves to the rest of the world.
Yeah. I see.
So,
and what is your driver? your main driver?
What do you mean, the driver?
What drives you? I mean, on a daily basis and then in your business.
What drives me? Honestly, New York City itself. Yeah, I am very inspired by the city. I'm inspired by, I'm a walker, so I walk around a lot. I think I just like the energy of the city, and I think that really feeds and like fuels me every day.
Yeah.
How I work, I think I get inspired by watching people around me, and also it being such a city of like a melting pot of different creatives, of people like myself who are maybe like weirdos somewhere else. And you come here and you're still a weirdo, but it's okay because everyone's a weirdo.
There's many weirdos, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of love that part where you can really express yourself and not feel like there's some kind of other societal pressure out there. And I think that part is really freeing for me.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Do you think you could have done what you've done anywhere else?
It's hard to say. I think maybe, but I at the same time, I don't think so. Or maybe not not at the time I wanted to do it. I think that I came to New York not knowing anything, not having any experience in fashion, I don't know. I think like New York just offered me a lot of opportunities, which I don't feel like, and I loved Melbourne. I loved where I went to school, but I stepped out of college not being able to find a job for 2 years, and I think, there's just so much more opportunity out here. And I think there's also a little bit less judgment maybe. When I think that part I really appreciate. I liked the fact that my boss at Nadine could take a chance on me in the arts, even though I only worked in fashion. I liked that I was able to work at Com with no experience in fashion and worked in nightlife. And I feel like that's how I like to think about these things is I think a lot of interesting people in the field are nonlinear. A lot of us have many different interests, have many different paths, and you can't be boxed in. And I think that's
the beauty of New York.
Yeah, that's the beauty of New York.
I'm very attracted by the magazine there.
Oh, yeah.
No, but it's quite interesting because magazine have still a big place in those bureau.
Yeah.
It's still very important by the place the PR agency are putting it. And it's still very important. It looks to be in those magazines. But on the other hand, everybody's saying, magazines are dead. And
I know it's I have such an affinity for print. I feel like I like a tangible physical media, and I don't want print to ever die, but it's a tough time for print now. And so I feel like we have this here also just as a visual reminder of like that fashion and also arts and any other industry, like the visual and the art direction is still such a huge part of the storytelling itself. It is an industry of image makers, from the clothing to the final image, to the stylists that we work with, to the photographers that we work with. So I think it's important to still really represent that, even though we're moving into such a digital space. It's nice to have these tangible things to remember.
Do you advertise in magazines? I mean, does your brand advertise in magazine or not really?
For my roster of brands, not so much.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do. I think that because I work with such an independent roster, now it's a mix of both independent as well as established. But even the advertising landscape has changed a lot. In terms of, is print advertising the main drive now? Or is it something else? Brands are also putting dollars into other forms of marketing that maybe yield a little bit more return than print advertising pages, which is hard. I think that's also why print doesn't there's a lot of print publications in the States that haven't really survived. And I think a lot of them are moving into the digital space now too.
Which one is your favorite magazine?
Oh my God.
It's a difficult one, sorry.
It's crazy because I was like, ooh, no, because then all the editors will be like, why don't pick me?
Sorry, this is a tricky one.
They are
all very nice.
They're all very nice. to be biased, this is a publication I love, but this is not a fashion magazine.
Yeah, this is art magazine, right?
Yeah, this is my friend Whitney Mallett's publication called the Whitney Review, and it's a new literary magazine. And I really respect what she's doing because there's no online. It's only in print. Oh, wow. And it's a celebration of literature. There's poetry, there's fictional, non-fictional writing, readings in here. It's not fashion related, but there's also fashion adjacent, I think, because I think, again, the way I think about these things is that they all relate to one another. So I really respect what she's doing because she's, putting it in tangible print only without any, and the writing in there is really good. I read every issue.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I like that.
How do you stay ahead of what's going on in the world? I mean, the world is so crazy. I mean, and the world of fashion and communication, and you were talking about the Substack, the social networks in all different areas of the world. How do you get it?
How do I get informed? I'm pretty stimulated as a person every day. I feel like I wake up I am a reader, so I do read a lot of online and print still. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I do read the Times, Financial Times. I do, I the usuals. I think I do it because of work, but I honestly read a lot of it's funny because I shouldn't say this because I work in fashion, but I actually try to read outside of fashion more than I do fashion.
So Financial Times, which is a London-based publication, right?
Yes, yeah. And I do listen to podcasts. I think I love the audio form. Sometimes I even just read fictional, not fictional writing. That's not based off real. I mean, just things like that. I feel like I like to be informed by other things outside my industry.
Yeah.
So it's not so because I'll get that news anyway. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I'm interested in food. I love reading about food.
Which one do you read?
I do read New York Mag, Bon Appetit. I do all of them, honestly.
Yeah, Bon Appetit.
Yeah, I do. I'm a sucker for New York Magazine. I do think that they I always like their long form, short form writing, whether it's in food or if it's just a really juicy piece of New York story that is in there. I feel like they always have it right in terms of a good balance of good journalism and also some humor as well, which it's a very quintessential New York publication, I think.
Is there a New York humor? Is there a New York humor?
I think there's New York humor. I think I'm pretty sure there is. It is really hard to explain what it is.
I see.
It's a bit self-referential. It's a little ironic. There's, a dig at the high-low. And I think particularly in New York Magazine, I don't know if it's all at home actually, but in the very back page of New York Magazine, there's always that section called, I think the matrix, the approval matrix, which I really like when they have the high-low and they place a specific slice of pop culture or happenings in the world in a spectrum. I love that page.
Great. Shall we go outside? Shall we go for a little walk? A walk and talk?
Walk and talk. Let's do it.
Is this the last marathon? No.
They say intended a few issues. I think some of them are there. 22, 20. Yeah. 21.
Is my child stupid?
Huh?
No, is my child stupid? So funny.
Do you have a favorite publication?
I interviewed Josh.
Joshua Glass.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's quite. I think what he's doing is quite interesting.
Yeah, I like what he's doing for sure.
Of course, I love interview.
I mean, I do love interview.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to. Yeah, interview is great. I feel like Mel's done a really good job.
Yeah, he's been doing a very good job to reposition it, right?
Yeah. Have you interviewed him before?
No, this is on my target. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
great.
Love to interview him. I think I'll try to catch him in Paris, maybe. The thing with Fashion Week is nobody has time for a 2-hour podcast. It's quite difficult, so I'll come back to New York maybe to catch him.
Yeah. This is also good. Takun, who used to be a fashion designer and also runs that magazine On Girls. And he does a good job. It's one of like the New York publications too.
Numéro New York. It's a good one.
Yeah.
What's his name, the guy? Reifer?
Bunny.
Bunny.
Yeah. Because he's at Mazarin in
Yeah.
Paris, but he publishes this as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a
I
fuck.
love pinup, but pinup is not a fashion. It's more architecture focused, but
Okay.
I feel like it's also a very good publication.
Which one is the most powerful?
Powerful.
Yeah, because we have a brand with my wife, and and we are saying, if you get an article in the M magazine,
Yeah.
if you got or in the Auto Spend it, HSI, sorry, you sell. I mean,
Oh yeah. I mean New York Times.
New York Times, yeah.
It does still have that drive. It is kind of like the equivalent of like a How to Spend It, like the T magazine, Wall Street Journal. That's still considered top tier, because the readership is just so wide.
Yeah.
There's a fashion section, but it's not a fashion magazine or paper.
Yeah. And okay, cool. Let's walk, and we're gonna talk about those things again. I would like to go through, the process of when you start a brand, or no, maybe to ask you differently is when you've got. How do you pick your project actually?
How do I pick it?
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't work with everybody, right?
No.
You don't.
We have to
accept
be pretty
everybody.
selective because the size of our team is kind of small. So we have to be intentional in terms of who we work with. And it's not so much, it's so subjective, these things, and there's a lot of, when I started my agency, there's also an amazing array of my peers who also started, because basically what happened, this is like around 2019 before the pandemic. I think as like a evolution, there is a lot of big, amazing agencies in New York, but I think also brands were starting to look for different things. So, as a byproduct, I was one of the, early ones, but a lot of the same thing happened with my peers where a lot of people started to branch out to do their own thing, and their own agencies. And I feel like everyone has their own taste and their own take on what they like.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong. It's just more of like a vision and a preference. So for us, again, like when we started, we work with a lot of independent brands. I try to keep it quite tight. We want to ensure, I think what interests us is when someone has a story to tell or there's a potential. We want to see the potential for it. It's not about like just getting a really cool brand that everyone knows already. Like that's not the thing for us.
Yeah.
Like you can be a really well-known brand, but if you're coming to us and you just want to do the traditional PR thing, which we can do, but that's not that exciting to us. Because I think for us, we want to be able to do a little bit more of a 360 approach.
Yeah.
We want to get a little funky and creative with it. And if you're looking for something of a big box agency approach, then maybe we're not the right agency for you. So we think about a few of those things, variables.
What is the common red thread of all the projects you are working with?
The thread.
The red thread, yeah. I mean, what is I mean, they're all similar in a way. I mean, they all have common points, right?
Mm-hmm. Common in a way that is, I think that maybe the common thread is that they're not so easily boxed in. And sometimes I think when I relate to this type of feeling that, when I mentioned to you earlier, when I came to New York, it's then like, I like so many different things and I couldn't be defined. And I think I relate to, and I really understand the brands who maybe have similar types of projection and voices where what they're doing is so different, but it's not a one-way track of what they're trying to express. And I kind of like that challenge, and I find that really exciting because I think that's all we're moving towards today anyway.
Yeah. I see. So this is the mall, right?
Yeah, this is a mall. Under the bridge, I it's close to my office, but when I first moved to New York 15 years ago, I also lived really close to here. So I used to get all my groceries around here. I love this part of Chinatown. It's one of like the older parts of Chinatown that still has a lot of these like little businesses around, and it's a little chaotic. It's under the bridge where the trains are.
So it's very loud inside as well.
It's quite loud because we're right, so when a train goes by, you can kind of hear it. And it's crazy because you can see like some of those businesses is like literally just like a tiny little
shop,
and they're just selling lottery tickets or something. Or
that's crazy.
But I get a lot of my inspiration, or like those wig shops. I love it.
I'm looking forward to go inside.
Yeah. But this mall is interesting because the space has always been here. But around maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, there started to be a little bit more occupancy in terms of what's available inside. So I love what's not obvious on the streets.
Yeah.
So we have Eckhouse Lada that's in, I think they're still in there. If not, I don't know if they're still in there anymore. But there's also a couple of other businesses in there. And you have to go through the supermarket. This is the mall. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so it goes into like so you see all the local businesses here. There's like the what's it called? That's the supermarket itself, but we're gonna go here.
So funny.
I was like, have you done a podcast where you're going into a mall?
No, it's the very first time.
Yeah. So this is a Chinatown mall. I don't know what it was before, like 10 years ago, but now you have a lot of different businesses that are here. A lot of amazing vintage stores.
So and
Independent
people are coming in. I
businesses.
mean, yeah, to for
To shop.
Yeah, for shopping.
Yeah. But I think it has cool energy. I mean, it's changed a lot. It used to be a lot more vacant. I mean, I feel like it was like very, very, like pretty empty like a few years ago. But now it's pretty full.
This is both vintage and new brands, right?
Yes, vintage and independent. I think a lot more vintage now, but it's evolved a lot. But it's interesting. I think like complexes like these really give has like a renewed energy about how you think about like both retail and art spaces.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The thing is, in New York City, the rents are super expensive, right?
Super. And with these malls, it's probably a little less. To be honest, I don't even think it's that much less. The thing with New York, it's like it's generally pretty expensive, but sometimes you can randomly get a deal. It just depends on if you like meet the right person, the right landlord. But the malls are interesting because it's probably not as crazy as if you're getting on the street storefront.
Yeah, of course. And this is driving an interesting crowd of people who love that kind of
I think now. I mean, when it first started, it was just like a couple of stores, but I think they were strong enough, like the Eckhouse or James Valoria, that they had a dedicated audience who wanted to come here. But you'd have to know to come here. But I think now, because it's so full, that there's a pretty healthy amount of traffic that comes in here now.
Super interesting. Mm-hmm. So, when you start working with a brand, with a young designer, like super young, and you find him interesting, or you find it interesting and the story very interesting, and you think you can do something out of that. What is can we go through the process of putting this together to be coherent and strong?
How to tell the story for the brand? I think the number one challenge, I mean, I was saying like it's hard to be like a designer and artist these days because with social media you kind of have to not just know your craft, to also understand how to tell your story. And some people have it instinctively. Sometimes it just comes naturally to them. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's what we're here for. So, when we first speak with them, we kind of just, get to talk to them the way that we're talking now and understand their craft a little bit more. And I try to get the sense of what their what their, I guess, objective is, whether it's short term or long term. How do they communicate their craft? Sometimes, even like myself, when you're doing so many different things, there's so many compartments of the story that you want to tell. So for me, it's like listening. We try to kind of dissect it, listen to what the fuller story is, and be like, okay, how do we think about these in different chapters, like in a novel? And what does that timeline look like in terms of how you want to communicate that? And how many times do we tell it until people get the message? Is there a repetition? Is there not? How much is too much? So there's like a lot of things that we want to assess. And then, depending on the brand, whether it's a independent brand to something a little bit bigger, a bigger brand usually have various marketing departments and social media that will take care of other things like the copy for their social media captions, the marketing newsletter language, but an independent brand might not have that. They're just like a 1 or 2 people team. So our roles are a little varied in the way that we kind of have to work pretty nimbly depending on the size of the brand. If it's a smaller brand, then sometimes we even have to look at their newsletters or their social to being sure like what we're saying sounds like it's coming from the same voice or it's the same tone of voice. So it feels a little bit more cohesive. Just little things like that. It comes very naturally for some, but not naturally for some others. And that's something that we work closely with the designers and artists to just like craft and make sure that it sounds clear.
Yeah. On the chapter you mentioned, can you give us an example to illustrate this?
The what? Sorry?
The chapter you say.
Oh, the chapters?
Yeah, I love this idea of chapter.
Yeah, it's chapters. Because, if you think about how people's attention spans are, we call them talking points, talking points for a story. Is it about, basically the essence of when we listen to someone's story, what we feel like people will gravitate towards? Is it the way in which, what makes you differentiate from other designers or artists in the field? Is it how you were trained? Is it specific to your craft? Maybe that's one chapter of the story. Is it about your relationship with a certain, there's like different, I guess, evolutions of the brand of like how to best talk about it. So we basically dissect them into different stories, and then we try to tell one of them at a time, or a combination of both. But sometimes it's hard to tell everything at once.
Yeah. And you need to be accurate and specific to not weaken the message, right?
Yeah.
Just be strong one at a time.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not too long. You want, I wouldn't have said this maybe 10 years ago when people are reading longer form writing, but that's not the way now where, oftentimes, especially for, say, a younger person, maybe they're just reading, we're so used to social media copy and
3 lines.
Tweets and, headlines that things don't go past like the first 5 seconds of your attention span. So what are we communicating first? What should be on the very top? That's very clear. When you're emailing someone, is your message strong in the first 3 seconds of someone reading it? Or are they getting confused? If they're getting confused, then we need to workshop it to make it a little bit more succinct. And do you save some for later so you don't tell everything at once? Because people also get confused. So just little things like that it is a very, very much the art of the language. Yeah.
And your feeling of how did this evolve? It's and where is it going, by the way?
Oh my
Because
God. I don't know.
15 years ago they were reading like super long stories, and there was almost a lot less media.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like headings, tweets, social media, etc., etc. Where is it going now? With AI, for example, how is it changing your job?
AI is changing a little bit for sure. I think that, I want to believe that hopefully I think there's still a lot of room for long form. And I think what always happens culturally is that there's also always this swing of things that happen. You go too far one end of the spectrum, people are reading just like one sentence things, and people are, I think, all of us now are pretty aware of marketing as well as how people are consuming things. People dissect into that kind of stuff. So I think when we're like as a society, you realize that we're reading things, our attention spans are too short. Then we start to see things going longer form again. But then maybe it's accompanied with visuals or something like that. So I do think things always happen in waves. It's interesting. When it goes too far one spectrum, they try to go back on the other ones. So sometimes now you see, we also see interesting things where it's a social media handle, but the captions are very long. But that also drives a certain amount of attention because it's a type of chapter storytelling, but through only like still life.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because we are living in a world where you've got 3 hours podcasts, one sentence tweets. You've got Substack. They are quite long to do a Substack.
Substacks are interesting because it is like a rather longer form of consumption, but it's very much based on trust because Substacks are usually, created by a singular voice, a person, and there already is a bit of like that credibility that's forming there. And then the Substack forms, and then you see, I think right now that's maybe what we're seeing a little bit more of, especially in my industry anyway, is like not only Substacks, but dedicated newsletters from publications that are from the voice of a specific editor from the publication.
Do you have example?
Yeah, like Lauren Sherman from Puck does an amazing one, obviously, because of Puck. I feel like she was one of the first ones to do it in the industry, and people really, really read it. Within the fashion industry, within Vogue Runway itself, Nicole Phelps has her own newsletter. I think Jose for Vanity Fair now has his own newsletter, who I love. He does an excellent job. And I think I'm excited for what he's bringing to Vanity Fair. Sam Hines from GQ has his own newsletter. So I think it's very much based on the trust of that particular editor or their voice. And people want to see what they think, as a critic, and a writer too.
I see. Which one are you paying? Which one are you paying for on the Substack one? Because this is so funny. There's so many writers and good newsletter, but at the end of the day, you cannot have like 20.
I know. Well, I subscribe to all of the ones that I mentioned to you, but I think also for my job, I do have to, but also, I like Delia. They're not fashion writers, but I appreciate Emily Sundberg obviously has a huge Substack. Feed Me, one of the biggest Substackers. Insane. But I will read, like the second her newsletter come out, I will consume it and I want to know what's going on.
Oh, really?
And
how did you explain the success of this Feed Me newsletter?
It's interesting because I think she really hits the sweet spots of, it's not fashion specific at all. But it is very New York centric. She knows the ins and outs of, she has a nuanced understanding of marketing. Sometimes she analyzes campaigns. Sometimes she is the first to know about a business that's developing or closing or, those are the things that we kind of want to know about.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's interesting because now sometimes you see Substacks or newsletters break the news more than websites itself. I feel like I learned about Erewhon being served in New York, like the LA smoothie through Emily's Substack, not on, that was a newsbreaker and I respect it. So I think that it's interesting and I don't know where it's going to go next, honestly. It's really hard to tell.
You cannot tell us what's the future of communication?
Oh my God, such a loaded question. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's move on, no? Maybe?
Yeah.
Let's carry on.
I hope that it's still people talking, not robots at you.
Of course. I love this place.
Isn't it cute? It's really, really great. I like the journey of walking in too,
Exactly. But it reminds me something like... there's some places like that in Tokyo as well.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Broadway Nakano, it's like the one that has multiple floors and they have a lot of bookstores and toy stores. And then I think the basement is like food or something.
Exactly.
I love that place.
It's very similar.
But it's cool because, you see a lot of the OG businesses are still here.
Yeah.
Be careful.
That's a good melting pot.
Yeah.
Good mix.
And I love it. It's so nostalgic because when I first moved to New York, I really used to come to that specific supermarket all the time to buy my groceries because I lived around the corner. So
Thank you.
it's just interesting what it's become.
All right.
So I'm thinking, where can we go next? I can bring you to the gallery next.
Oh yeah, let's go to the gallery.
Yeah.
I follow you.
Okay. I think let's go this. I don't even know. I think I.
So beautiful.
I know. I love this part of New York. It's my favorite. I love Chinatown. I feel like it's one of the, the Chinese community's been here. The history is so deep. It's from anywhere from like the 1920s or even before, all the way through like the later 80s immigration to now. And there's a lot of like crazy history in Chinatown, even from like later immigration.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of the business owners, they've been there since like the 80s and the 90s. When you go to a hair salon, they still tell you these stories because they've been working that same job for decades. And it's just one of those like unchanged neighborhoods, and which is really hard in Manhattan because everything else changes so fast.
Yeah, this is the only one is staying like authentic.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger neighborhoods, of course, there's Little Italy, which in Manhattan, everything gets gentrified so quickly.
Yeah.
But I think this neighborhood is just still stands pretty strong. I do love, I know Midtown gets a lot of hate. I love Midtown. People find Midtown corny, but I love it.
Why you found it corny?
Well, I guess it's not so corny. It's, I think when people think about Midtown, maybe they just think about a lot of like commercial businesses, and people go to Midtown for work. You know, it's not so much, you don't think about Midtown as a place to live because it's so, people are just like transient and they're moving. But I kind of love it because I feel like when I think about Midtown, I think about like old school New York all the way back to the 60s to sort of 70s. And maybe it's because I'm not from New York, so I kind of romanticize about it a little bit.
Of course. Is New York is still attractive? I mean, is New York is still very attractive for a young crowd? I mean, people are still coming to New York to make it, right? It feels like
I think so.
It still has its power of attraction that is very strong everywhere in the world.
Yeah, I think New York will always be New York. I think definitely it's become like super expensive the past few years.
Yeah,
which has been
how
of
do
a
we
bummer.
explain that? This is the level of living. It's like all the same in the US, or it's very specific to New York.
I think New York. I mean, New York has always been more expensive than other cities, but I think the past. I think just with inflation of prices, like property prices, your everyday living expensive, it's definitely become really expensive. I have to say. I mean, it was never cheap to begin with, but now it's just like a little bit more of a.
But do you think all the properties are full? There's a lot of. I mean, is there like in Paris a lot of empty apartments, or everything is full and completely packed?
Oh gosh, I feel like there's never any shortage of you always see another new development in New York pop up.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's always enough demand. Whether or not people are living there, I'm not sure, but I do think that there's like, I guess not so much in downtown, but you go like midtown, uptown, there's crazy amount of condos and luxury buildings that just keep on building and they keep on getting sold. And there's probably enough wealth that's buying it, whether or not they're living there or not. Maybe it's just a place that they're staying, but it's crazy. It also changes so much depending on what neighborhood you're in. I've always lived in Manhattan, but I think that's also, there's a lot of beautiful neighborhoods in Brooklyn that people are just moving more and more out of as well. When I moved here in 2010, I think Williamsburg was like not what it is today. They hadn't really developed as many of those like high rises in Williamsburg, and it was still very much kind of like an artist hub.
Yeah.
And now Williamsburg is like probably more expensive than some parts of Manhattan, you know? So
I would like to talk about the state of young, I mean, how do you say it? Fashion. I mean, of the fashion scene in New York. The independent, how do you call it?
independent designers?
Yeah, independent designer, young. I mean, does young designers start brands nowadays? Or is the state of the market?
Let's go this way. But let me think. Yes, I think the short answer is there's always more and more creativity and designers that are popping up in New York. And I'm always excited to see what happens. I mean, New York is like one of the centers of some amazing schools like Parsons, like FIT, Pratt. But even like, you know, a lot of the designers that I've worked with in the past, you don't necessarily have to be traditionally fashion trained. Some of them are self-trained. Telfar never went to fashion school, you know.
Yeah.
There's a few also, like the Gauntlet Chang girls, like a few others where they went to art school instead. So they're, you know, Rhode Island School of Design. So there's a lot of these like cross inspirations, and there's always new creativity that's coming out. I do think that it's like, I guess, financially hard to sustain a fashion brand in New York. You definitely need some type of external support somehow, either through sponsorships or other type of, I don't know, economic support from a show or independent perspective. But I don't think it has, I don't think it's stopped people from continuing to create.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And there's still, every season I do still see stuff that I am always excited about.
Yeah. So tell me about the New York Fashion Week.
New York Fashion Week. What do you want to know?
Is it still something important? Do you show on New York Fashion Week, or you only show in Paris?
We do both. New York Fashion Week, we've always been pretty active in. We still do quite a lot of shows each season. I would say always like at least 4 or 5. There was a time where I did like 10 to 12 shows a week. I don't even know how we did that. I was so insane. Our team was so small. But now it's about 4 or 5, which is a healthy amount. I think that the landscape has changed a little bit, although there's still a bit of a, you know, as I mentioned, I think there's always new, young faces that are showing, and then some established designers as well. But it is hard because of that support factor I was mentioning before, that the past few years, because it's become a little bit more, I guess, just costly to produce and sustain in New York. We've also seen some designers only show once a year instead of twice a year.
Yeah.
You know, that's becoming a pattern that I've noticed. Of course, there's like a few of New York's favorites that don't even show in New York anymore. That's also a thing. I think Paris is honestly having a nice moment in terms of that. It just kind of has like, you know, it's like that epicenter where people are going. I do hope that it comes back to New York a little bit more. I think it just, with everything happening now, like social politically, it also hasn't been the most international fashion week, but I feel like the CFDA has been trying to get people to fly in every season. Yeah. So we do see a group of international editors flying in, which we always appreciate. It would be nice to see like more exchange, you know, throughout the seasons.
So when you go to Paris 4 times a year, this is quite a lot.
Yes.
what do you do there exactly? This is presentations and show as well.
It's both.
Yeah.
Fashion, I mean, Paris is set up a little differently than in New York. So because in New York, we don't, Paris, it's kind of like, for example, if we do the Kiko Kostadanov show or we do Autolinger, there's usually a couple of different PRs doing different regions like North America, or they're doing Paris or London or APAC, which is Asia. So it's a bit of like a divide and conquer situation where we work as a team and everyone just gets their own regional seats, say like 30, 40 seats out of the 200 that you're having a show.
Yeah.
Which is pretty manageable. In New York, it's a bit different because oftentimes the brands are not set up in that same way. So, for example, we're often doing the entire show. So as opposed to having like a regional split.
Oh.
And you're doing like the full 200, 300, if not 500 people. So it's just a bigger production in terms of responsibility. And then in Paris, we also do presentations and also just one-on-one showrooms and meetings as well.
So what makes a good show?
You're really making me think with these questions. What makes a good show? I think that
No, but you want to have a super big impact, right? In terms of cover by the press, by the media.
Exactly.
You want the buyer to buy everything. So it's how do you make sure?
I mean, there's a few things. I think first of all, the very, very core foundation, the product has to be good, right? You can't, not everything is full of just marketing only. I feel like the foundation of it has to be strong. Second of all, from what we do, is curating the right and good balance of a guest list. So having the right mixture of press, but also it can't, again, press is not the only conversation. There's a lot of players in a show, from industry adjacents to buyers to tastemakers to, actually dressed talents and influencers. Sorry, I think we're going down here. I don't want to take you in like a long loop. I feel like we walked one block over, but I'm giving you the full tour of Chinatown now.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. What was he saying? So, what was he saying? Oh, what makes a show good.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of the audience really matters. Then, the actual logistics of the show is another consideration. The guest experience from entering the show to sitting down. Yeah. If there are any obstacles or is it chaotic, And then I guess there's also kind of like the seating of it all is also really, the art of seating is a huge part of our job. It's outside of the guest list itself, like how are people sitting together? It feels so simple because it's only a 20, 15-minute experience.
Yeah.
But you have to consider so many nuances. Are you just sitting them with the people they see all the time, or are you kind of subtly seating them with someone that they may not have met and they're forming a different type of dynamic?
Yeah.
It's the same way that we think about when we're doing dinners, so that people to people connection is interesting. Who are they sitting across from? Are they sitting across from someone where they can take a video of? There's like a lot of vantage points that we have to think about. And then there's the press outcome as well. Sometimes I think depending on the brand, a show can just be very pure and simple, and it can still be incredibly strong. You don't have to do like all these frills. It can just be about the collection in a beautiful, simple space. And then sometimes a show is a spectacle. So there's like a performance. Sometimes there's something else that's introduced in it that makes it memorable down the line. And that's a factor too.
Do you want to buy a bag?
Huh?
Do you want a bag?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, selling bags there.
But that's another part of Chinatown I love, is like the bag sellers.
That's amazing. Oh, the Goya brand is represented.
I know. Have you been to that part? There's like on the other side of Canal Street, there's a very concentrated group of bag sellers. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Those are crazy, but it's kind of fun. It's a very New York experience. We're going this way. Sorry. And sometimes the bag sellers, I think they have such good style. Some of them.
Yeah, you want
And,
to buy
yeah.
you want to buy it all. Oh yeah. So we are leading to the gallery.
We're going to the gallery. I took you one block too long. Sorry, but it's just around the corner.
That's fine. So tell me the genesis of this gallery, because you're co-owner with your husband, right?
Yes, with my husband. It's primarily his gallery. I did find it with him back in 2019. The gallery's name is Wham, and it's also in a Chinatown mall, so you're getting a lot of mall experiences this time. And it's interesting because my husband and he also used to work in fashion and
Okay.
art as well. He worked with me at Dover Street Market. He then worked at Stussy, but he also worked in a few different galleries. And he started this in 2019, kind of like very adjacent to how I was thinking about my agency. Like art for him is also like a key traveling medium, but Wham was founded as a art gallery, but he also did a book club. So
Cool.
it's more about how people have conversations around these things.
Yeah.
And he was really interested in working with both exciting emerging artists in New York,
Yeah.
some of which, oh, thank you, haven't really shown before. And then some that are a little bit more known, but people don't realize that they're a painter or things like that. So
Right.
here's the mall,
Oh wow.
another mall.
It's so funny to see you gallery here.
I'm the queen of malls.
That's something.
I know. Actually, this is my favorite store because they always have the cutest plushies. And I bought probably like 10 plushies at this point. They also have they're not open today, but you can go inside and take a picture.
Ah, so funny.
It's a great store. So this mall has been here since 1991. This is like a jewelry store. You can do your Aura card here.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
I'm going to open the gallery for you.
Justin Egger.
It's in Hager. And then next door is a gallery. Next door is this hair salon.
Okay, so what is it? 1.22% per day?
Oh, what is your bag later?
Later. I don't want it to crush, but also be careful with the apples and banana.
I'm gonna have my bananas now.
Okay.
That's an experience, huh?
I know. The salon next door has been there since the mall has opened. So since 1991. And so they've been working there since 1991. It's crazy.
But do you know what was before?
I don't. It was vacant for a while. So yeah, this is small gallery. This is a show of Justin Hager, who's a New York-based artist. His work is incredible. So we just opened a show a couple of weeks ago.
So when you've got a show opening, it's like crowded with people here. Like crazy.
It becomes a mall party, honestly, because the space itself is not very big.
It's a mall party.
But the cool thing is, because the mall, like all the other businesses close at like 5.
Yeah.
So then we have our opening at 6 to 8. There's like no one else here. So we take over the whole mall.
Great.
It's kind of great.
So tell me about your husband. How did you meet him?
Funny thing is, I met him when I was at Comme des Garçons, and he was working for another fashion brand, Adam Kimmel, and he delivered a garment bag to me.
Wow.
So that's how I met him.
Good of food.
Huh?
Instant love? Love at first sight.
It wasn't.
No?
Well, there was like a delivery bag exchange, and then I think I kept on bumping into him at parties and stuff.
Okay.
So it was over a course of time.
Okay. And you had quite a wedding, right?
Yeah. The wedding was actually at the dim sum place next to my office, which is a great location. So we got married 3 years ago, but I met Anatoly, my husband, the year after I moved to New York. I moved here in 2010. I like immediately met him, and then we started dating in 2012 or 2013. So I've been with him for like 13 years or something.
Wow. All right.
It's been a while.
So can you tell me about the genesis of this gallery?
Yeah, so the gallery, it was founded 2019. It's called Wham. Anatoly had founded it. It's all his concept. I kind of helped him. My credit was that I found a space because we were walking around Chinatown, and I was like, this place would be perfect. He wanted to really start a space, as a platform for both emerging and established artists to show. We also had a series of book talks that we did during the early years as well. And it was, which was kind of amazing because, when you think about book clubs, it's very academia and literary heavy, and it's usually a little intimidating.
Yeah.
But we kind of found these, he really was interested in like New York as like a central topic. So each book he, discussed as this, like the central piece of the book talk. There's also always an element of like subculture that people could talk about. And it really drew in a lot of kids to want to talk about it. And that was quite special because, like not all kids are just reading physical books these days. So whether or not you read the book, there was a larger, broader topic that people could discuss. And also during the pandemic, we did it in, a series. It started out physical and then it was Zoom and then back to physical, but it drew quite a lot of discussions. So this was kind of like the evolution of that. And art, had always been his interest. It's another medium for conversation. So that's, how we're thinking about that as well.
How many artists are you representing?
It's really a rotating roster. I mean, it's kind of an evolution. I feel like the gallery has been open for 6 years now. We've done anything from large group shows with over 20 artists to singular shows. I want to say it's been like 20, 30 artists at minimum that we've rostered across. Yeah.
Oh, is this working? It's working well? You are paying rent?
Yeah. Oh, well, luckily the rent is good here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small space. And this is like the second show that the second show that we've done with Justin Hager, who's originally from the Bay Area, but he's based in New York. His work is amazing, and a lot of kind of has like a very fashion adjacent crowd as well. That is interested in Bias's art.
Right. So over the last how long have you been running the Pure Agency?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. Same with this. This is 6 years too.
So you studied everything at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we both just quit our jobs and we're like, let's do this, and then
here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Very successful.
It's crazy though, because the year after we started it, the pandemic happened, and we're like, oh well, what do we do now? Which still worked out. We just worked from home. I guess we had nothing to lose because at the time I didn't have any employees. I didn't have an office.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't like I had a lot of overhead or rent or anything like that.
So what's the future of you and the gallery?
Oh yeah.
And the PR bureau?
What's the future? I mean, I guess I'll take it as it goes. I'm really, as you can probably see, I'm not a planner. I really go by instinct. So, I feel like I just want to keep on having fun doing what I'm doing. I feel like the day that I'm not having fun anymore, then I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to be excited for what I'm working on.
So
I just have a question. From an outsider point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it seems like your bureau, we're going to call it bureau,
I love it.
just got very successful very fast. I mean, 6 years is not a lot. Like, why do you think it happened? What happened?
I think about that sometimes. I feel like, honestly, we've been so lucky. I mean, I guess it is a combo of, I wouldn't say just luck. It's like luck and hard work, but I think it's also, we've been lucky in the sense that we've never had to pitch something. Like, we've never had to go out, and so far in the 6 years, we've never had to be like, hey, I want to work with you. It's kind of been a very organic type of relationship and traction or by referral that's happened so far, which I've been really grateful for. And I think that maybe I want to attribute some of it to like the New York creative community is so small. You know, when I first started, it's kind of with these set of designers and artists, and we all kind of run around in the same circles. And maybe it's by the fact that, to be honest, I go out a lot. I love to walk around the city. I live and breathe the culture of it. I love going to music concerts. I love going to art galleries. And I love to understand how people work and think and tick. And I think being able to understand those nuances, especially in a city like New York, it says something. You know, I feel like I can meet a designer or an artist and really understand their references and know what they're saying or what they're trying to say. Because I've also, not to say I've been on a linear same path with them, but I too kind of understand some of these obstacles that something in the mainstream can't quite understand. And I'm intrinsically interested in it myself. So I think a lot of it was like based out of relationships. And at the end of the day, PR we're in a field of service, you know, it's communications, but it's a service. So it's a very people-based job. And I think that you're establishing a long-term relationship with someone. It's like a friendship. It's like being friends with someone plus a professional layer there. And you want to be able to get each other. And I think that if you do and you have a track record of doing that, then it kind of like just organically grows from there. But I also think I am quite intentional with the way I think about our team as well. Just like, you know, we only have 10 to 11 people. Even when I was building the team, everyone had such an important part to play. Like all of the kids that work with me, well, not kids anymore, at GKC, most of them don't come from PR backgrounds, or most of them don't come from like a very linear trajectory, not strictly fashion, not this. It's really a crazy mix of everything. When I think about, it's almost like think about casting a show. I'm like finding someone who has the music aspect and has like the writing aspect. And this one likes to go out like to nightclubs. We are kind of in the fabric of a lot of these subcultures that the clients are already talking about. So we're already in it with them. We're not talking about it from like an outside standpoint. And I think that understanding helps. And I think like my team also really understands that. And that the whole making of the team was like very intentional in how we want to
You're
do
insiders.
it. Yeah.
You have insiders of a culture you are representing, in the designer you are representing.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's interesting to make, again, like I don't ever like to be in a position where I feel too comfortable. I feel like the funnest projects are always when you feel a little bit challenged. And it's the same when we think about team. I don't really put someone that's like, oh, you're the one that's like only on the fashion stuff. Everyone is kind of on a little bit of everything. And it's really based off personality, even potential, storytelling, and interest. So I think I like a bit of like almost like sometimes a bit of a clash, a bit of like a high-low, and you're not just a luxury person. You're like a little bit of this and that. And I think that's when like exciting stories or exciting ideas can come out of. Yeah.
Great. Amazing. So what will you do differently over the last 30 years?
30 years.
No.
I'm turning 40 this year.
40. Oh, lucky you. I just turned 40 as well, so.
Oh, really? You're 1986 too?
Yeah, 85.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 86. I'm turning 40 this year.
So yeah, what would you do differently? It's like the midlife crisis? No.
Oh my God. Yeah. What would I do differently? It's so hard to tell because, like of course, I still go out a lot in New York, but obviously my lifestyle is not the same as it was like 15 years ago or,
Are you partying until 5 in the morning?
No, I probably shouldn't. I definitely don't do that anymore. So like, it's for me, the challenge is like, how do I keep my finger on the pulse while not physically being out anymore? But I do, I do to go out, but not like till 5 o'clock in the morning. I can't even afford to do that now. I get so tired by like 10. But it's like, how do you think about those conversations? And I think what fuels me is I travel a lot.
Where about?
I go to Asia a lot, honestly. Like I have a rule. I mean, I'm addicted to travel. I think I have a problem. I work a lot. My whole motto is like work hard, play hard. So if I'm working hard, then I can still, I go to Asia twice a year. My parents are in Chengdu, China right now, but I always make a rule for myself that I have to go to 3 places in a world that I've never been to before. Like I have to see something new. And I kind of, I just like to go somewhere and like just walk around and
just walk around. Do you meet with people there, with a creative class or whatever?
Sometimes not even. Like, I go to Asia. Whenever I go to Asia, I always go to Shanghai, a city which I love. I go to Seoul. But sometimes I'll also do regional traveling around like other cities in China just to see, just to kind of like feel. Because I think like traveling is such a huge part of our work. Like the fabric of my team is really international. Everyone's from everywhere. I grew up in so many different places. I think understanding perspective is a huge thing as well in what I do or what we do. I think it can't be so insular, I think like sometimes when you're in New York or any city and you've been here for a long time, especially if you're digesting kind of like New York news, political news, like from the outside, it's like insane. But then you're kind of also in a little bubble. And then sometimes it almost just takes me to travel somewhere. I go see my parents in China, where I go to see my friends in Tokyo or Seoul. You kind of are reminded of different perspectives and differences. And I think that's a great thing because you're not just kind of like, oh, well, we're in New York and everything here is right, because it's not like that. And there's no right or wrong, but I think I like hearing other opinions that are not my own.
Of course.
So that's what I like. And I think visually it's just inspiring. I love to walk around and see a city or like a town.
Great. Mm-hmm. Do you think we cover all the topics? Is there anything you wanted to talk about? Is there any message you wanted to give to say?
Oh my gosh.
To the youth?
To the youth. I don't know. I mean, I think just, I guess so corny, but I always say like, stay curious, just stay, don't be too comfortable.
Yeah.
Don't be too comfortable.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And maybe to pass the baton, who would you like to listen to, in this podcast?
Oh, who would I listen? Oh my gosh. Okay. Have you done? I mean, actually would love to, if you can get, like, I would love to listen to Mel. Mel is always a good interviewee. Yeah.
From the Tokyo magazine.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think who else. You've done a lot of people that I love, actually, when I was like looking through your list. Do you do visual artists as well? Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I've done a fine art artist, Nick Doyle, yesterday. This year. He's presented by Perrotin.
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
Yeah. Who else would be good is, do you know Blake Abbey?
No.
He's current editor-in-chief of A Mag Curated By. After Dan, he worked with Dan for a while, but he's a fun one because he also is brilliant in the sense that he does so many things, from editorial to acting. Amazing singer, can do it all. He's between Shanghai here and Paris, so he travels around a bit.
Should be easier to have it in Paris, maybe.
Yeah, he's always there during Paris. He's a good one. He can speak French too.
Wow.
He can speak it better than I do.
But I think I'm gonna do all my interview in English now.
Yeah. You're perfect. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Listen. I'm perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. That was great.
Please subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and comment this video and share it to the world and like it. Love it. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.
Again. Ciao.